and our equidistance ratio scale is the most informative scale of measurement. So interval shows us that not true zero, tidak ada nol yang betul. Dan rasio scales itu adalah ada nol yang betul. Oke, seperti itu. So, let's go to instrument. Next slide, I mean. Instrument. Yes. Instrumentation. So maybe many collegian doesn't actually know what is instrument. At the first time when I was undergraduate, I don't know what is instrument. But actually instrument now I understand. Instrument is a tool how to measure something in research. That is the definition of instrumentation. So in this chapter, we will review the various ways that researchers use to collect data on the variables of interest in their study. Researchers can use instruments such as tests. Okay, we can use tests, or we can use questionnaires, and we can use observations, interviews, or focus groups, or existing data collected by others. Okay, so the second, understanding how researchers collect their data is important because the strength and quality of the study depend on the appropriateness and quality of the measure used to collect the data. Okay, next. So to, how do you call it? To make it clear, as you can see on the table, look at there, type of instrument. Test, it means that related to numerical. So the description, a standard set of item in a prescribed way to all individuals to describe an individual's performance on the test. I say that most of test instrument we can use in experiment research. I say most, yeah. Okay, next. And questionnaire. We can use a questionnaire instrument. It could also numerical or narrative. Okay, as a set of predetermined question designed to measure an attitude or perceptions of the participants. So questionnaire is to measure, how to measure about their perception, how to measure about the perceptions, or how to measure about attitude. We cannot use number, but you can use questionnaire. So questionnaire, it becomes numerical. Okay, next, observation. It could also talking about numerical or narrative, or the meaning is a direct way to measure behavior by observing behavior in a naturalistic setting to describe the behavior. So observation, how do we observe the behavior of the students in the classroom? Okay. And then interview. I think all people knows about this interview. Interview is talking about if view question directly to the participants and record their answers. So most of the researchers, when they interview the participants, they record it. But sometimes we can also write it. But I think it is really troublesome. So people just only, researchers can only record it. To describe their attitude and perception of individuals where the data are in narrative forms. And the last is documents. Is also talking about narrative. Existing narrative materials such as school policies, videos, or individual education plans. So what is document means here is maybe like photos, videos, and so on. So if you have something to ask about my material later, you can ask me, and I mean we can ask our groups later on. But after this, because I have done my presentation, then I will hand my time to the second speakers, Wirangi Wahidin. Please, time is yours.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, for the first, I want to say thanks for the chance that's given to me. So now I would like to explain about sampling from population. Okay, so before I'm sharing you much more detail about sampling, the first in here I would like to explain that what is the population, a sample, sampling technique, and sampling procedure. So before that, you must know what is the population. Okay, population is a group of elements having a similar characteristic. It can be human being, living or non-living object. Okay, population is defined as an entire mass observation, which is the parent group from.
Anggi, sorry Anggi, suara tak?
Oh iya, besar
Iya,
nih.
iya. Belum.
Okay, population is defined.
Belum.
Population is defined as an
Belum
entire
berubah. Pakai headset kayak gak?
Enggak, tidak.
Oke.
Okay. Population is defined as the entire mass of the observation, which is the parent group from which a sample is not to be formed. And for the sample it is a subset of the population, the study, the characteristic of the interpopulation. It's mean that population is defined as the aggregate of object, person, or elements selected from the universe. Okay, and what is sampling? Let's talk about sampling. Sampling is the process of selecting observation, a sample to provide an adequate description and interference of the population. Okay, to get the sampling, and you must to know that have also characteristic of a good sampling. The first is the sample must be represent the population correctly. The second, it must be free from bias. The third is it must possess the least sampling error, and the last is it must be optimum in size. And also in sampling, to get a sampling that have advantage, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 advantage of sampling. The first is reduce time in course the collect data. The second is more comprehensive data is obtained than in a census. And the third is administrative control. Next
Anggi,
is
Anggi, sorry. Nggak bisa cari solusi bagaimana supaya
Nggak,
terdengar bagus. Suaranya karena kecil sekali.
masa kecil sekali itu bulannya.
Pakai headset atau bagaimana? Pakai laptop kayak gak?
Iya pakai laptop karena saya sekarang
Jadi
Anggi kapan? Kok saya kira kecil memang suaranya Anggi.
enggak, biasa begitu suaranya, tapi bisa besar di volumenya.
Kayak tertekan suara.
kalau begini besar Mi?
Belum, Pi.
Enggak. Tunggu lah. Coba saya pakai
Nanti ku bawakan ke ramuan pembesar suara.
Bagus, Ji. Iya, didengar maksudnya jelas, Ji. Cuma kayak beda sama yang lain.
Iya, ditahu Ji, begitu anunya, cuman volumenya. Kan biasa kalau persentase bagus dia juga volumenya.
Iya, wait.
Tapi kalau nggak ada solusinya, lanjut mungkin saja. Supaya nggak blank. Ya.
Ya, enggak apa-apa.
Lanjut mungkin ya.
Kalau masalahnya maksudnya dia enggak mungkin lanjut Mika kayaknya deh karena muka juga pakai HP.
Iya, lanjut
Iya,
Mian.
lanjut mungkin.
Oke, lanjut nih. Okay, let's talk about advantage of sampling. I would like to repeat again. The first is reduce time and cost the collect data. The second is more comprehensive. Data is obtained in census. The third is administrative control, a better motivation, reliability of data, less non-response, error, and conclusion. Okay, and for the in sampling also that have a principle. The first a principle of sampling, the first is selection of sample must be systematic and objective. The second is sample unit must be thoroughly defined and easily identifiable. The third is sample unit must be independent of each other. Next, some units of sample must be used throughout the study. Next, the selection process must be on some criteria, and the last is it should avoid error. Okay. To get the sampling, that's also have the process, and the first is you must to defining the population concerned. The second is specifying a sampling firm. The next, specifying a sampling method, determining a sample size, implementing the sampling plan, and the last is sampling in the data collection. And for the essential of sampling, there are four the essential of sampling. The first is representative assure by the random selection, educate sample size, independence, some change of selection, and the last is homogeneity, no basic difference is in nature of units. Okay, so now is the type of sampling. There are mainly two types of sampling based on change of being selected or not selected to the population unit into the sample. The first type of sampling is probability sampling, and the second is non-probability sampling. Okay, and for the sampling technique, there are several kinds of probability and non-probability. For the probability that have a simple random, stratified, systematic, cluster, and multi-stage. And for the non-probability that have a judgment, purposive, determining, quota, convenient, and snowball. And for the mix that have two kinds, multi-piece and low quality range. Okay, and for the systematic sampling, a systematic is appropriate and in situation for the complete population. Unit is available in sequential and systematic order. And to get the sampling also that have a advantage and disadvantage. For the advantage, there are two advantage of sampling. The first is it possesses the characteristic of simple random sampling as well as artifact sampling. And second is the sample is drawn from each and every segment of the population, and hence it may be considered to be more representative. And the last is the disadvantage. The first is the entire population unit must be available in a systematic and sequential manner, and the last is the first unit is the drawn at random, and therefore every unit is selected, and therefore it may lead to systematic bias in the sample. Okay, I think this is for my explanation. I'm so sorry if my voice is not good. So next presenter.
Okay, thanks for the chance. I will explain about categories of research design. Saya yakin bahwa teman-teman semua sudah memiliki prior knowledge about this material. Okay, the first is designing a study to answer a question. Research design is the specific methods and procedure used to answer a research question. Conducting a study is important because it allows you to make observation using the scientific process to answer your research question. To conduct a research study, you need to be thoughtful of the extent to which you are actually answering your question. A research specific method and procedure called the research design to answer a research question. So, sebelum kita menentukan jenis penelitian, jenis research design yang ingin kita tentukan, itu berdasarkan dari pertanyaan atau yang menjadi objek penelitian apa yang ingin kita teliti. Nah, dalam ada di sini 3 jenis pertanyaan, yaitu exploratory, descriptive, and relational questions. Oke, ini contoh yang kita lihat. Kalau exploratory, ada pertanyaan yang diawali dengan what if. Kita bisa lihat contohnya, yaitu what if a high fat, high sugar diet leads to attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Nah, contoh yang kedua kita bisa lihat sendiri. Nah, untuk pertanyaan deskriptif ada 2 jenis, dua cara bertanyanya. Yang awalnya tuh bentuk apa ya? Begitulah. What is dan how untuk deskriptif. Nah, what is the average number of articulation errors in 4 to 5 years old children? Terus relational. Ada 2, yaitu does and is. Oke, kita bisa lihat contohnya juga di layar. Nah, untuk does and is itu untuk membandingkan variabel, hubungan antara variabel yang satu dengan yang lainnya. Kalau yang deskriptif tidak ada perbandingannya, bukan untuk membandingkan variabel. Oke, next. Kanggi, next. Anggi.
Ya, tunggu jaringan.
Oke. Merespon Ki supaya Dito juga didengar.
Iya.
Iya.
Ada aja, cuman wait. Apa nama dia?
Oke, kita langsung lanjut. Categories of research design.
Belum terganti.
Oke. Iya, di sini ada 3 seperti yang teman-teman ketahui sebelumnya, yaitu experimental research design, quasi-experimental design, and non-experimental design. Experimental research design is the use of methods and procedure to make observation in which the research fully control the condition and experience of participants. Jadi di experimental research design ini full control dari researchernya. A key strength of the kelebihan dari experimental research design ini itu tadi di bawah kontrol penuh oleh researchernya, dan only research design capable of demonstrating cause and effect. Hanya experimental research design yang untuk menentukan sebab akibat begitu. Nah, kekurangannya yaitu research design is the behavior that occurs under control conditions may not be the same as behavior that occurs in a natural environment. Oke, yang kedua yaitu quasi-experimental research design. The quasi-experimental research design is the use of method and procedure to make observation in a study that is sama dengan eksperimen, tetapi perbedaannya yaitu kondisi dan experience of participants are not under full control of the researcher. A key limitation atau kekurangan dari quasi-experimental design is researcher don't have full control to manipulate the independent variable and cannot demonstrate cause and effect. The third is non-experimental research design. Non-experimental research ini pada umumnya digunakan di dunia pendidikan, education science, dan ini non-experimental research bisa dikatakan jenis penelitian yang apa adanya, yang tidak bisa yang peneliti hanya melihat apa yang terjadi di tempat penelitiannya yang ingin diteliti, misalnya karena contohnya we cannot manipulate the content of existing documents at different times in history, such as an analysis of individual educational plans, atau kita tidak bisa memanipulasi bagaimana secara alamiahnya antara siswa dan guru berinteraksi, tidak bisa memanipulasi bagaimana antara pelatih dengan coachnya, pelatih dengan atletnya pada. Non-experimental research design have been adapted to study these types of situation. Jadi ini jenis penelitian yang apa adanya. Ini adalah karakteristik dari non-experimental design. A key strength of the non-experimental research design is that it can be used to make observation in setting in which the behaviors and events being observed naturally operate. A key limitation atau kekurangan dari non-experimental research design is that it lacks the control needed to demonstrate cause and effect. Jadi kita lemah di dalam dikontrolnya. Peneliti tidak bisa terlalu terlibat di dalam mengontrol. Jadi tidak jadi penggunaan using experimental research design, we can speculate about potential cause for the observation we make, but we cannot know for sure without grid control. Tidak bisa terlalu yakin karena tidak ada kontrol yang maksimal begitu. Okay, next. Internal and external validity. Internal validity is the extent to which a research design includes enough control of the condition and experience of participants that it can demonstrate a single unambiguous explanation for a manipulation, that is cause and effect. External validity is the extent to which observation made in a study general beyond the specification or constraint in the study. The more control in research design, the higher the internal validity. So experimental research design has a great control and therefore the high internal validity also. Experimental research design ini have great control and high internal validity. And non-experimental research design typically have the least control and low internal validity. Quasi eksperimental itu berada di tengah, seperti yang kita lihat di layar tak. Next slide, Kakak. Nah, seperti ini. Experimental design, high control, high internal validity. Kalau quasi eksperimental ini berada di tengah, dan non-experimental design, low control and low internal validity. Next. General elements and structure of experiments. The first is randomization, manipulation, and comparison or control group. Random sampling is a method of selecting participants such that all individuals have an equal chance of being selected to participate. A random assignment is a method of assigning participants to groups such that each participant has an equal chance of being assigned to its group. To use random assignment, we identify the independent variable or factor that will be manipulated in experiment. Okay, next, Kak. Threats to the internal validity of research study. The first is history and maturation. A history effect is a possible threat to internal validity in which an anticipated event occurs with a treatment or manipulation in the study. Maturation is a possible threat to internal validity in which a participant's psychological state changes over time during a study. Maksudnya adalah di sini adanya faktor yang misalnya contohnya skor pembaca menurun akibat serangan teroris. Ini adalah faktor internal yang mungkin membuat si sampel penelitian tak mengalami trauma dari sejarahnya mereka sehingga membuat skor minat bacanya menurun karena faktor sejarahnya. Terus maturation maksudnya adalah perubahan perkembangan. Nah, bisa saja dari dia merasa lapar atau bosan atau karena usianya. Ini faktor yang bisa menjadi kendala dalam penelitian tak. The second is regression and testing effect. Regression toward the mean is change or shift in a participant performance toward a level or score that is closer to or more typical of his or her potential. Regression ini adanya perubahan skor dari hasil pengukuran yang sama, bisa meningkat ataupun menurun. Sementara testing effect ini hasil dari testingnya meningkat. The improved performance on a test or measure the second time is taken due to the experience of taking the test. Mungkin karena si sampel kita ini kenapa dia dites 2 kali dan di hasil tes keduanya ini meningkat karena dia mungkin pada tes pertama dia memahami sesuatu sehingga pada saat tes kedua dia bisa mengatasi kesalahannya. The third is instrument and measurement. Ini tadi sudah dijelaskan tadi sama Kak Mail. The fourth is heterogeneous attrition. Attrition or experimental mortality is a possible threat to validity in which a participant doesn't show up for a study at a scheduled time or fails to complete the study. The next is environmental factors. Environmental factors include the time of day when a study is conducted, how researchers treat participant, and the location of the study. Jadi environmental factor ini bisa dari waktunya, dari bagaimana si peneliti treat the participants, and lokasi penelitian. Treatment factors can also affect the internal validity of a study when conducting an experimental study. If the treatment is not delivered long enough, the effect of the treatment may not be seen. Jadi ketika treatment dalam penelitian tidak berlangsung lama, bisa saja efek dari treatment itu bisa saja tidak terlihat karena kurang akurat dari segi waktunya. Next, threat to the external validity of research study. The first is population validity. Population validity is the extent to which a result observed study will apply to the population from which a sample was selected. The second is ecological validity atau research settings. Ecological validity is the extent to which result observed in a study will generalize across settings or environments. The third is temporal validity, timing of measurement. Temporal validity is the extent to which result observed in a study will generalize across time and at different points in time. Outcome validity or operationalization of concept. Outcome validity is the extent to which the result or outcomes observed in a study will generalize across different but dependent variables. Treatment validity. Treatment validity is the extent to which the treatment can be generalized and they implement as it is conceptualized to other individuals. Next, Kakak. Okay, this is the last. High internal and external validity tidak bisa ketika jenis penelitian yang kita pilih tinggi external validity-nya atau internal validity-nya tidak bisa dicap ini adalah a good research design karena semua jenis penelitian memiliki limitation and it is important that researchers recognize them. The goal in educational research is not to solve the world educational problem in one study. This goal may not even be possible or realistic. Instead, the goal in educational research is to move forward and advance our knowledge of education and the behaviors and even the operate within it. So, untuk mengembangkan sebuah knowledge, alangkah baiknya ada beberapa jenis penelitian yang mungkin dari si A mengambil judul yang sama, tetapi jenis penelitiannya yang berbeda-beda. Ini mungkin akan meningkatkan pengetahuan karena masing-masing jenis penelitian ini memiliki kekurangannya. Jadi mungkin jenis penelitian yang lain bisa menutupi. Jadi itulah caranya untuk bagaimana cara mengembangkan pengetahuan. I think that's all for me. Saya kembalikan ke Kak Mail.
Okay, thank you very much for the third speaker, Umul Nashira, who has explained about the design and so on. And then now the session is question and answer. So I want to give warning to every participant that one group can request or deliver one question. Okay, so time is yours for the group 1. Okay, group 3.
Mika, Imma.
Imma from group what?
No. Suika, 3.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
Oh, please,
Okay.
Imma.
Just a simple question. Snow has explained about a scientific then actually, if we talk about the research, I just want to know that how measure the validity of research. That's only just a simple question for me. That only that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the question. So, what is the step of validity?
Yeah, the measure of validity in research.
Oh, the measure. The step or the measure of validity?
Just explain what you want, but I just want to focus about the validity. What is the validity, and then what is the step of a measure of it?
Okay. Thank you so much, Imma. Imma Smart. Okay, thank you. Next question.
Mimi from group 4.
Group
Reskiani.
1. Ayo dulu Kak Ayu.
Uh,
Dari group 1. Mana nih Kak Ayu?
May I?
Ayu, yeah.
April.
April.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity given to our group. I'd like to ask about the quasi-experimental research design. Could you explain more about it? Give it some examples. And how could it be? It is just not full control to the participant. What does it mean? And then if I conduct a research such as the types of research is descriptive case study, how we make the research question. Could you tell me more about it? Thank you.
Quasi eksperimen ya.
Ya, dengan itu yang descriptive case.
Okay, this is from group what? April?
Group 1.
Ya? Group 1.
Yes.
Group 4 maybe?
Me, Reskiani.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask about the data collection because for a few months later on, we will conduct a research. So I want to ask which one is easier and faster to conduct, and then what should we choose? The test, the questionnaire, the observation, the interview, or the documents? Because in my opinion, here is how do I say kayak penentu in our research later on.
Yeah.
Which
Okay,
one is easier and faster?
Okay. So which one is easier and faster?
Yes.
In collection data, yeah?
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
key. Okay, thank you. From group 4. Okay, group 5.
Skip. Next ke
Group-
group 6 dulu Kak.
Group
Karena-
6.
Group 6. Any.
Yeah,
Any.
okay.
Okay, thank you. You have explained before about type of instrument. And my question is about questionnaire. In your opinion, how to make a good questionnaire that can make our research result more reliable?
Wow. That's a good question, yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Can you repeat? Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah.
One type instrument is questionnaire. So, in your opinion, how to make a good questionnaire that can make our research result more reliable? Do you get my point?
Yeah. More. Okay. More
Okay, thank you.
reliable, yeah? More reliable. Group what? Group 5.
Nuno or Uni, do you wanna ask or know something? If no, hello, Anda Cika Pandi. My question goes to Rara. Would you like to explain more about internal or external validity? Because just now I didn't get, apa tadi Rara bilang kalau experimental design itu high control of internal validity. Terus non experimental design itu low control of internal validity. Terus maksudku how can begitu? I need more explanation. Thank you.
Okay. That's all about the question, yeah? So I want to I want to ask the question from who? Ima, ya?
Iya, Kak.
Yeah, Ima. Correct me if I make mistake, yeah, because I'm new in this field too. How to actually measure the validity is I have explained before that there are some steps, or that there are some criteria or category that we have to look for. What is that? We can use the measurement like nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio, and so on. So nominal, yes. As I have explained before, to make the validity is very, very reliable. So that's what I say, that we can make our research valid when you use nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. How about Ima?
Okay, so I can conclude that if we talk about the validity in research, we only focus for nominal, I mean the scala of the statistic, only that. Maybe the other section or
Okay.
only that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. Actually, this is only, how do you call that, the first step in how to make our research valid, or how to measure the something that we can count. But for the others, as I explained before, that if you want to measure about something that we cannot count, then we can use questionnaire, interviews, documentation, and so on.
Okay,
Okay.
seems like instrument maybe.
Yeah, seems like
Yes.
instrument.
Okay. So I can conclude that if we talk about the validity, we only focus the scala, and then the instrument in research. Only that, Kak Mayul.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I got it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ima.
Amail.
Okay. So who else from my member of my group can answer? Umul, do you want to answer?
Mi, Wirangi.
Oh, Wirangi, please, Wirangi.
Okay, thanks for the chance that's given to me. So I will to try to answer the question from Reskiani. Which one is the anniversary and what we choose in collection the data? Okay, my answer that we can use a questionnaire because from the situation in pandemic, because in that kalau kita menggunakan questionnaire saat ini sudah ada yang namanya itu Google Questionnaire, jadi kita bisa tinggal memasukkan questionnaire penelitian kita pada Google Questionnaire itu, lalu kita akan mudah untuk membagikan linknya saja, and the student can easy to answer the questionnaire. Jadi tanpa ada pertemuan atau tatap muka dan tanpa menyebarkan lembaran-lembaran. I think it is my answer.
Okay, thank you. But actually, when I was in a bachelor degree, my data collection, I have three. The first is questionnaire, documentation of a TOEFL score, and then interview. And then the hardest or the most difficult thing is the questionnaire. Why I said like that? Because the questions that we give to the respondent, we should make that question become more valid. For example, you give them 20 questions. So all of the 20 questions should be valid. It just like I count it in SPSS, and then it's take too long time for me to make all of my questions become valid. For me, questionnaire is difficult because it's not easy as we think that, oh, questionnaire, we make a questions and then we ask this, we make it in the Google form and then we give to the respondent. Actually, it's not as easy as we think because we have a validity. If there is no validity, it can become easy, I think.
Can I
I want to give to Wirangi to explain more. Okay, please, Wirangi.
I think for me it's easy because I'm use Google. Saya menggunakan Google itu ketika waktu penelitian S1. Because why I say easy, because the situation waktu itu karena sudah tidak ada siswa lagi, jadi tidak ada jadwal perkuliahan, jadi saya menggunakan Google Questionnaire itu, dan menurut saya sangat mudah dan alhamdulillah saya bisa mengelola data dari Google Questionnaire itu.
Guys, may I?
Who's that?
Tula Kak.
Oh yeah, please Tula.
Thank you for the chance. I think that some things that Kiki asks is about the validity of the questionnaire itself, because karena itu kalau kita bikin questionnaire, menurut saya itu tidak semerta-merta membikin, harus divalidity. The first one is
that's what I mean.
The one who can seseorang yang bisa memvalidity questionnaire kita itu appropriate or not is the expert one. Per se bisa kita bikin kuesioner itu divalidity oleh dosen, atau bisa saja seperti yang Kiki tadi bilang, dia tes pakai SPSS. That's the way. And tapi ada juga cara yang lebih gampang. Seperti yang saya lakukan, saya tidak tes itu ke expert, saya tidak tes itu pakai SPSS, but I took some questionnaire from the previous research. Jadi saya ambil yang related saya ambil dari penelitian yang related sama penelitian saya. Maksudnya saya ambil kuesionernya dari itu. Otomatis kuesioner itu sudah approve sebelumnya. Tapi one thing that you have to underline is don't take all the questionnaires, just take the question that relate to yours, begitu. Itu tipsnya begitu.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
thank you so much, Tula. That is helpful, I think. And then that's how about Iki, Rizky?
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, that's the conclusion. Questionnaire not as easy as we think. Jadi kalau mau bikin,
so I want to move to Annie or Miss Annie. I actually want to say that your question is already answered, because how to make the questionnaire more reliable, because many students or many researchers only make the questionnaire based on their opinion without go to the real participants. That's maybe any means, but what makes questionnaire more reliable? Tula say that SPSS. Okay, thank you.
Can I say something, Kamail? In my, as I know, validity test and reliability test, it's totally different. It's not. I asked Kak Ima, it's totally different. Reliability, we are talking about how do I say, a test. For example, I give a question to respondent. Hanya 1 until 5. If there is a students, if there is students answer 1, and then there is a students answer 5, it means that the how is not reliability. Jadi reliability konsisten itu pertanyaan atau seberapa konsisten itu tes nilainya. Nah, misalnya ada yang jawab 4, ada yang jawab 5, terus jawab 4 lagi, that's consistent and stable. But if the respondent answer 1 and then there is again answer 5, it means that it is not reliability. Valid, it can be valid but not reliability. That's what I know about validity.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Reski. As I explained before, that reliability is about the consistency of measure, and the validity is the accuracy of a measure. That's very good explanation. But what I want to explain about what any question is, how can make a questionnaire more reliable? Yes, because sometimes the student only make it up their questionnaire. They only answer by themselves. They don't go to the participants. But actually, how to make more reliable is, go to the participants, not only answer by yourself, because sometimes it happens. And then how to, okay, that's what I mean.
Say something.
Miss Annie first.
Okay. If there is addition, you can give me addition.
Okay, thank you.
I
Addition.
want to give an additional explanation.
All right.
Kak Eni asked about how to know how valid the questionnaire is. At least there are actually 4 main types of of validity. The first one is validity. That's the test measure the concept that is in itu mengukur apa yang seharusnya diukur. Kan kita punya research question. Apakah tes yang kita buat, angket yang kita buat itu bisa mengukur konsep dari penelitian kita. Terus yang kedua itu content validity. Is the test fully representative of what it aims to measure? Apakah tesnya bisa mewakili apa yang tujuan kita untuk mengukur? And then there is phase validity. Does the content of the test appear to be suitable to its aims? Apakah konten dari tes tersebut, dari setiap nomor tes tersebut suitable dengan tujuan penelitian? And the last is criterion validity. Do the result correspond to a different test of the same thing? Jadi kalau misalnya hasil tes tersebut diukur dengan pengukuran yang lain, dengan measurement yang lain, itu hasilnya tetap sama atau tidak. That's why we know how valid our question is.
Okay, that is addition.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Kak Mail. And
Yeah. Okay, maybe Rara, where are you, Rara?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you ready to answer?
Yes, insyaAllah.
Okay, please, time is yours.
Menjawab pertanyaan dari Kak Ayu, yang pertama yaitu apa itu
internal and external.
Bukan, quasi research, quasi
research.
Ya. Quasi research hampir sama dengan experimental research. Perbedaannya yaitu di eksperimental sebagai peneliti kita mempunyai kontrol secara penuh di penelitian kita, tetapi di quasi experimental research tidak sepenuhnya sampel atau si yang kita teliti. Contohnya dari referensi yang dikasih sama Bapak, ada peneliti yang meneliti 2 sekolah sebagai eksperimennya, yaitu ada yang mengikuti Real Girls Program. Nah, di sekolah yang satunya tidak mengikuti Real Girls Program. Nah, dari hasil penelitian beliau mendapatkan bahwa siswa ya dari sekolah yang mengikuti Real Girls ada pendidikan secara akademi, tetapi kenapa tidak dikatakan experimental research design tidak terkontrol penuh sama si researcher, karena kondisi dan experience of participant lack some control because the study lacks random assignment include a pre-existing factor. Maksudnya kayak sudah pengalaman dari peserta peneliti yang sampel lah tidak bisa diganggu gugat, tidak bisa dikontrol jadi bisa saja siswa yang mengikuti Real Girls Program meningkat secara akademi dan lain-lainnya, tetapi tidak sepenuhnya karena mengikuti Real Girls Program. Bisa saja karena ada pengalaman sebelumnya atau bagaimanakah situasi di rumahnya, apakah dia ikut les juga, dan faktor-faktor lainnya, dan itu tidak bisa dikontrol oleh si peneliti.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
How make research descriptive?
Yeah, how to make a research question related to descriptive case study research.
Ada tadi ditampilkan sama Kak yang deskriptif, yang what is atau kayak how to, kayak bagaimana pengaplikasian metode belajar ini di sekolah ini, kayak metode belajar silent way di sekolah ini, kayak begitu. Karena kan di deskriptif bukan untuk membandingkan variabel tapi untuk mengetahui bagaimana variabel itu bekerja di tempat penelitian tak. Ngerti Kak? Kalau ada tambahan dari kakak-kakak yang lain.
Biasanya seperti yang Umul bilang Kak, kalau case study atau deskriptif itu memang fokusnya ke how. Bagaimana sebuah fenomena terjadi, apa penyebabnya fenomena itu, apa efeknya. Maksudnya ya semua deskriptif atau case study menurutku, karena saya kemarin case study itu pasti menjawab dari pertanyaan how. How.
Tidak konsen kepada hubungan variabel-variabelnya gitu.
Atau tidak konsen ke percobaan, kayak kalau eksperimen kan mencoba metode atau media. Kalau case study itu how, bagaimana media itu mempengaruhi, bagaimana metode itu mempengaruhi.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Sefets for you, Tula.
Untuk pertanyaan selanjutnya, saya akan mencoba menjawab semampu saya, karena saya juga tidak terlalu memahami ini. Sejujurnya, internal dan eksternal, tanya dari itulah. Internal validity ya includes termasuk mencakup kontrol dari control of the condition and experience of participants. Nah, di sini internal validity experimental research design ada kontrol secara penuh dari peneliti. Nah, apa itu external validity? Extent to which observation made in a study generalized beyond the specific manipulation or constraint in the study. The level of control in a research design directly relates to internal validity, or the extent to which the research design can demonstrate cause and effect. The more control in a research design, the higher internal validity. Jadi ketika kontrolnya secara penuh oleh peneliti, maka dia high internal validity. Nah, eksperimen seperti itu. karakteristiknya. Dan high grid control and high internal. Kenapa high internal? Karena dia grid control, karena begitu penjelasannya di external validity. Tapi kalau ada kakak-kakak yang mau tambahkan, saya persilahkan dengan senang hati.
Ya, Miss Tullah, Siti Rahmatullah, how about you?
Kak, but if there is an addition, boleh?
Yeah.
Kalau ya, I see.
Is there any addition from all friends to explain more about internal and external?
Tambahan sedikit, kenapa di kuasi dan non-eksperimental low key internal validity-nya dan low key, karena list control. Jadi menurut pemahaman saya ini bergantung dari kontrolnya. Kalau dia besar, tidak pas secara penuh mengatur objek penelitian tak, maka dia high internal. Nah, seperti ini di eksperimen. Tapi kalau dia low, berarti dia low internal validity. Low control berarti dia low internal validity. Tetapi yang terakhir saya jelaskan bahwa sebuah penelitian tidak dikatakan item yang paling bagus ketika kalau high internal validity dan high control. Belum tentu karena masing-masing penelitian mempunyai kekurangannya.
Iya.
Oke.
Oke.
Ada tambahan dari kakak lain? Itulah bagaimana?
Ada tadi kulihat itu slide yang tentang internal validity. Coba Beda kasih lihat lagi, siapa tahu bisa dapat ide.
Ini.
Oh, ini.
Yang ini.
Internal validity and external validity.
Iya, ada tadi kulihat penjelasan di situ. Sebelumnya itu sesudahnya high control. Kasih appear me on the screen.
I think I agree with Umul because in internal validity that is under full under control, but external that can be beyond external, beyond the control, I mean, and we can manipulate it. Itulah.
Iya, Kak. Dari tadi Kak bilang I see.
Yeah.
Ngerti maksud.
So no more question. So if no more question, I would like to say many thanks to the participants, and I would like to say many thanks for the addition, so we can more understand about our material today. Thank you so much. And to close this discussion, let's say hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Can you stop the record?
Mau bertanya itu yang portofolio.